on Arthur Ashe Day.
Play. Love 15.
Well, Sinner won the toss
Love 13.
and said, I want to see if Jack Draper's a little nervous. You serve first. And he's flown a sitter forehand 12 feet long and then a double fault second serve that was the middle of the net.
His movement's been excellent this week. A lot made of his serve quality, but
15,
defensively,
13.
Draper, when he has had to defend, has done so well, Jimmy.
Well, when I've talked to James Trotman over the years, he complains about that fact because he says he's 6'4" lefty with weapons, and instead he wants to just put the ball in play and run and defend. That's what he did when he was a youngster. He didn't grow until he was a bit older, and so when he was playing in the juniors, he was more of what you call a
30.
pusher.
Yeah.
Just put the ball in and ran, and he still has that in his mentality, which I think in some ways it's helpful. He steals points.
Mm-hmm. How do you go about shifting that engine? How do you go about developing a player who's got a lot of weapons into becoming that slightly more aggressive?
I think it's just starting with having him do it, maybe not in the semis of the US Open, but in the smaller events as you're coming up on the tour. You start when you're beating somebody and you're going to obviously win the match. Let's get aggressive here. Start
Game.
that was a big game for Draper because he gave away the first 2 points on nerves, and Sinner had
First
the
game.
edge in that third rally and made an unforced error.
It's a serve with a lot of movement, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And it can certainly make life uncomfortable. We looked at some of the placement. There's been a fair bit of variation in Jack's serve as well over the fortnight. Did have a few physical issues, did Draper, in the quarterfinal.
Jannik Sinner
The
to
trainer
serve.
out, but as far as we know, he comes into this match with a clean bill of health.
Love 15.
Well, one of the things that's been happening to Sinner in the tournament is a lot of the breaks of serve that he's been happening to him have happened in the first set. Against Mackie McDonald, he got broken a couple times against Tommy Paul in the first set as well, and then the breaks dry up. Obviously, Medvedev match was a little different. It was the second set.
15.
Wilted and lost a 6-1 set.
Yeah, have been a few slow starts from Jannik, haven't there? Over the course of his 5 wins so far.
40-15.
Not sure if that's the pattern that
40-15.
Draper would like to get into, his backhand into the Sinner forehand, where he's forced to change direction off of a difficult ball to get out of that pattern. That's not where you want to be.
He's broken almost 50% of the time over the fortnight as Jack Draper, which is an enormous number considering where his averages are. If you look at his season average, he's breaking about 20% of the time. He's double that. But as you pointed out to me earlier on, he hasn't faced someone with the serving quality of Sinner so far, necessarily.
Game Sinner.
And he poses an entirely different challenge.
Well, it's, for me, it's not just Sinner's serve. It's what he
One
wants
game
to
on,
serve up
first
with
set.
that makes that serving quality so good. I'm a little surprised he was able to break Bodek van de Sandschulp as often as he did. You remember Bodek beating Alcaraz the round before.
Love 15.
Andre, you see anything in Draper's eyes that are telling you that he's as tight as it seems as though he is?
It's very chopped up. There is no flow. You can just tell that both players are still looking for
15
rhythm.
all.
And Jack is playing well at times, but then it's just two rallies back to back where he just seems off in his adjustment steps. Once he gets in the longer distances, he looks okay, but the adjustment steps are just a bit off.
Draper being nervous, but Sinner is mistiming. That was a shank in that point, and then he just launched that forehand horribly long.
Yeah, we saw that against Tommy Paul, didn't we, early on in the first set. The Sinner forehand was a little leaky, certainly not as reliable as it might have been. Tightened things up well, though, as that match progressed.
40-15.
I'm looking for excuses, Andre. You said there are none to be had, but you're seeing a lot of mishitting early on as we take a look at James Troutman.
I'm trying to find an excuse for them too, but I haven't found one, Jimmy, yet.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the conditions are perfect.
To find himself ahead after 3 games. Well, the Brit And that's exactly where he's at.
Draper leads 2-1, first set.
You look back at their junior careers, they're completely contrasting, really. As Jimmy was reminding me, Jannik didn't really play any juniors, did he? They knew the pedigree was there. They knew that his ascent to the top was going to be pretty rapid. Jack, of course, did play a lot of junior events and won a fair bit at that level.
Yeah, I'm curious to, I don't know, to look at history and see how many players didn't play a whole lot of juniors and still do pretty well. I feel like you often learn how to deal with pressure and compete when you're playing in the juniors. It's interesting to me, the players that don't go through that and don't have many matches. I mean, obviously the Williams sisters are fairly famous for not playing any tournaments until they turn pro, which seems impossible. How does anyone know that?
Yep.
They should be able to get in the tournament, but they proved right away that they did deserve to be there.
I think Alcaraz didn't play a ton, did he either, Jimmy, in terms of junior majors, from my memory? So they were.
No, he played them. He lost.
Okay.
Time.
There you go.
Shockingly, in a couple of those matches.
He was just biding his time, right?
Yes.
Family are in tow. One of the white shirt, Ben Draper, Jack's brother, and Mum has flown over as well. They're in the purple there. Definitely taken a little while.
Thank you, ladies
to make
and
that
gentlemen.
transition from
Ready for
being
play.
such a good junior for Jack Draper to reach this stage of his career.
Well, part of that is injuries. As
15 low.
you could see, if he'd ever get a full season in, he was a top 20, top 30 player for sure. Just the results that he had, never was able to put it together for a whole year.
This guy was in a similar position, right? Again, early doors in his career, he had some
30
problems.
love.
Is that just the rigors of how physical the game has become now?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I don't know how they don't have more injuries. But you see the way they slide on the hard court. It's the torque on their body is tremendous. I liked it better in my day when you could hit from the corner and sort of shuffle over nicely into the middle.
That was a meaningful return.
30-15.
See a lot of Sinner second serve, especially in the ad court, will end up a little short and in the middle of the box, and that's a place where Draper might be able to get a couple of forehands and rip them. Not off the first serve, obviously, but if he gets a look at some second serves. Early stages, that's the one thing that Sinner's doing well, is getting first serves in 8 of 10 so far.
Yeah, which has, again, not necessarily been the case this week. His first serve numbers have been a little lower than par for him. To soak up immense pressure throughout the course of that rally.
He soaked it up and then got himself the edge. He tried that drop shot, but he actually defended so well, he could have done something with the backhand.
Do give us a follow. The US Open socials. Keep across what will be a wonderful finals weekend. Keep across everything that's going on here inside Arthur Ashe Stadium. Going to be some finals days, it really is. Tomorrow, of course, Pegula and Sabalenka.
Arthur Ashe Stadium will be rocking for both finals because there will be Americans in the final no matter what. We've already got Pegula on the women's side, and Gauff and Fritz are playing a semifinal, so there will be an American in the men's final as well.
So early on, and you just get the feeling he's starting to relax into this now.
That was a nice combination beforehand. So the first one was a lefty spinner, and he got a short ball out of it and then flattened out the second forehand, and it was just pure pace that allowed him to get this sitter volley to deal with.
Jimmy, we have found an excuse, at least for Sinner. He's just been complaining to his box about his grip slipping. And he keeps gesturing at his grip and that it's slipping. So maybe that's...
I knew there was something. It couldn't have been him.
Game Draper.
He really has kept so many guessing with the quality of his deliveries. Jack Draper in this tournament.
Draper leads 3 games
more
to 2.
the same here,
Set.
early stages.
It's time. Is it because it's so humid, do you think, or is it just he needs a new grip? I mean, I'm sure that Head has supplied him with a few change of grips.
It's definitely a bit more humid than it was the last days, I would say. It feels like it might rain, maybe not today, but tomorrow. So it is in the air. And yeah, there are these gluey things you can use. He's not using, I'm looking at him right now, he's not using anything here in the change of ends. But that was definitely a chat he was having towards his box. But sometimes you just need to let nerves out on anything that is not your tennis.
Some good answers for the left-handers over the last couple of seasons as Jannik Sinner. In fact, only one has beaten him since the start of the 2023 season. And that was Ben Shelton over in Shanghai at the end of last year. A narrow defeat he suffered to the American that evening. And increase his lead as well at the top of the world rankings. Regardless of what happens today, Sinner, he'll stretch his advantage over the field. didn't, of course, play the Olympics. Much made of the challenges of playing in Paris this summer. Now that's impacted some. Is that a fair comment? Do you think the players that did play in Paris have suffered here as a consequence of that, or has been too much made of that?
Well, maybe too much made of it, because I don't know, they had enough time by the US Open. Maybe it made a big difference for Toronto, Cincinnati.
Game, Sinner. Three games all per set.
Yeah, the reason I hesitated was that Jessica Pegula went to the Olympics and then won Toronto, finals Cincinnati, and is in the finals of the US Open, so it didn't affect her somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, she seems like the outlier, doesn't she, of players that have gone deep into week 2 here, but very well to fashion a return that one and get it to the backhand. Andre, you got a good look at that serve. Give us an idea of the movement on it and how it's so potent and so tough to return against.
Well, what's really interesting is to see how Jack's serve continues to move after it hits the ground. Normally you will see a normal, just a bit of a breakdown when it hits the ground, but you don't have that with Jack's serve. It continues to rotate through the air as if it hadn't even hit the ground, so that makes it so hard to return.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I think it's not fair
15,
to have
30.
lefties, because I'm tongue-in-cheek a little bit, but because the biggest points when returning are almost always in the ad court. Every break point is in the ad court, and that's the side, that's the of the court that a lefty has the biggest advantage, because he can spin you so far out of the doubles with a backhand. You better get him on the 15-40 point.
Let second service.
And there's the counter in many ways to taking the return early, isn't it? Because Sinner took the return early, didn't do enough with it, and he actually finds himself a little exposed here because of it.
It's just that I think he feels as though to cut the angle off of that slider serve, he's got to take it early, and that serve got into the body. And so, yes, if you get caught inside the baseline and you haven't hit a great return, you are not in a position to defend. But again, it's just so hard for a righty. What do you do with that Draper serve? You've got to.
That was a bit of a brain freeze here, because he was so far away from the net when Sinner hit the return. And I was just rushing, clearly rushing, lost clarity of mind for a fraction of a second here, Jack Draper.
It didn't look like he was going to serve and volley. He hit the serve, waited for a minute, and then said, well, maybe I'll come in.
There's the first break. First serves lacking. And it's cost him.
New balls, please.
Anytime that you play as a righty, you play a lefty.
Love 15.
Generally, what you want to do is your forehand into their backhand, heavy into their backhand. That's advantage, and obviously the lefty's trying to do the opposite to you. So far in this match, it has been one-way traffic in Sinner getting that more often than Draper. That last point, Draper turned it around. He hit a good backhand down the line, and then the pattern went in his favor. He's going to have to be willing to hit a few more down the line backhands to get out of that cross-court rally where it's Sinner forehand into his backhand. To do is when he gets second serves, especially in the ad court, run around and try to get aggressive with the forehand and get a little bit of an edge in the point right away.
Yeah, got some new balls here as well. They're going to be jumping a little bit more lively. You could see how much that just got up on Sinner. Made it awkward.
Love 40.
Those sorts of points go back to the point you were making earlier on. That was a very disciplined point. It was probably a point that he shouldn't have won in the end, but he made him play. He was tough he didn't break down. And in many ways, that's the fundamentals of Jack's game.
Yeah, he went cross-court on every single shot in that rally, and he was allowing Sinner to try to create something.
Not always the wisest of plays, but
15-40.
got away with it.
Here we go. Right here again. All you, mate.
Cheap points will come his way, somewhat surprisingly. And Draper recovers the break immediately here.
Four games
I was crazy
all
about not running around that second serve and doing a little more with it. That was a point where, again, he was just hoping to get an error from Sinner. And maybe he knows better than I do, because he did indeed get that error from Sinner, but it was on, that point was on Sinner's racket.
Yeah, by his standards, that was an untidy game, wasn't it?
Very. He's not sharp.
Hit him up.
Draper, I think, isn't sharp, partly because he was nervous for the moment.
Again, you can just see him wiping the sweat away.
Andre, could you see if that was actually long? Just over the baseline, perhaps.
Tough to see.
Yeah. What in the world?
15 all.
It's a change from what I said earlier. It just feels like it's not flowing. The match is not flowing. It's chopped up. It's almost as if you're watching a movie on tape and the tape is damaged. That's how it feels down here.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. They need, both of them need one 25-shot rally.
Well, I think having a report that
15-30.
Seal is bringing the intensity and energy that Sinner might be lacking in the first set. Maybe he can be the difference.
This one, mate.
Yeah, he's the only one in the box for Sinner that normally brings energy. The other, Darren Cahill, pretty stoic.
Shot to nothing, and has produced a moment of brilliance.
This was a great second
30-all.
serve, a ridiculous return, and now from outside the doubles line, that whipper of a forehand when he needed it at 15-30.
Come on.
Look at the unforced error count for
40-30.
Sinner, almost into double figures. And again, it's not necessarily the number, it's when they're coming, isn't it? He was controlling that rally.
You. Slide him off.
I think I heard James Troutman just say slide him off, so it should be a wide serve.
Game,
It was.
Draper.
And the volley was a solid one to follow it up. Draper is back in front here in the first.
Draper leads 5-4 the set.
He did the advice well. And again, it's really only a 75% pace first serve, isn't it? That he's just letting the movement do the work, getting in tight. James Trotman has talked about Jack Draper being braver this year in the big moments, taking things into his own hands, being a little more proactive. This would be a good time to employ just that.
Time.
A 35-minute opening set that has hit the sharp end. It's been a little patchy at times.
Go, Jack.
Sinner yet to find his best. Certainly looks and feels like the ball that Draper's delivering is making Sinner a little more uncomfortable, doesn't it? It's almost like the ball is tucking him up a bit more often. He's not got quite the time he had.
Again, I'm not sure I'd like that
30-15.
pattern for Draper, his backhand into the forehand, but you're right, Sinner's forehand has been a little off at times in the tournament and today as well. It's strange when you see the scores of this tournament for both these players. Sinner did have to play 2 tie breaks against Tommy Paul. Outside of that, not one of the sets he's played has even gotten to 7-5. Draper's played 1 7-5 set. That's it on the way to this semifinal. So neither of them had a lot of practice at the most pressure-filled moments in the tournament so far.
What's up with the forehand?
Routine rally balls that he's missing.
40-30.
He has so much racket head speed and power that maybe there's times when it's a little tougher to control. It's just, it hasn't happened to him in the past. Not with as much consistently inconsistent as he's been in this tournament, really. He's had some anxious moments, but normally he gets it figured out before the matches have ended. Right now, he's letting Draper just do what Draper is comfortable with, which is putting the ball in. He's not trying to do anything special, Draper, in these baseline rallies. He's just playing percentage cross-court tennis, and it's good enough.
Thank
It's
you.
normally not the case against Sinner. That's not good enough.
2 points away here from stealing this opening set. I think Draper did a lot wrong there, didn't he, Jimmy?
Advantage, Sinner.
No, I don't know if this, I don't think he was trying to hit this last one down the line. I think just the pace got him.
Yeah, just beaten by the quality of the shot, wasn't he? You sense.
If he was trying to take it down the line, then yes, he made a mistake. He shouldn't have on that ball.
Ben on the left, who now acts as Jack's agent these days. Played county tennis back home.
Game, Sinner.
Aaron's going to have a look at some data. By the look of that.
5 games all per set.
And you could just see Simone Vagnozzi showing Sinner to hit the ball. They feel like he's not properly hitting the ball.
understand why that might be. Is that to do with what
Ladies and
Draper's bringing
gentlemen,
here, or is he a bit
it is
tight
very
today?
disturbing
What do
to
you
make
sense?
a sound like that
this-
during a rally.
So
Please
this
try to
last
stay
the
quiet
last
during the
two
rally.
shots
Thank
of
you.
this rally were definitely a
15
lot
love.
higher in pace by Sinner than the entire first set, and I think he might have some tightness and hesitation in his ground strokes today, and Vagnozzi was showing him hit the ball, let loose. He's trying to urge him on to just free his shot and his swing out.
30 love.
Never been an Italian man reach the final of the US Open.
Let's go, Jack.
In the Open era, Sinner looking to break new ground for his country
here,
yet
mate.
again today. Stan Smith, who's been here so much of the fortnight.
Here we go, Jack. Go, Jack. Come on. There you go.
He hasn't let. It's 4 double faults for Draper, but he hasn't let them bother him.
Yeah, he's got a good number of unreturned on the first serve so far. And the drop shot in the end proved to be just a little heavy. Was it the right shot there?
Use.
I think if he'd executed, look where Sinner is. Had he executed that a little better, that was behind the service line where the second bounce would have happened.
Go,
So
Jack. Go, Jack.
it wasn't the choice, it was the execution that caused the issues. Sinner way back for this second serve, furthest we've seen him, looking for a forehand.
And Draper looked to counter it, but has rather fluffed his lines with that ball.
Advantage Sinner.
That was a smart play in the end because of how far back you saw Sinner. But I don't know what was that an attempted drop volley that went long? Is that what we just saw?
Possibly. Whatever it was,
Thank you.
it's allowed Sinner a look at a break point.
Use.
That's where it's unfair to hit your left-handed. Sorry, but he's hit so many swingers out wide that you got to respect that serve, and then it opens up the 128 down the tee. But it doesn't even have to be 128 because you're so far out.
Yeah, it's interesting because his first serve percentage is still only 50%, but half of those first serves have not come back. He's keeping him guessing.
Advantage Draper.
What's funny is I was thinking just go for another bomb on the
Yes.
second serve even. He ends up double faulting playing it safe. He'd rather have double faulted with the serve I was picking.
Yeah, that's 5 doubles now,
Yeah.
which is the same number as he's hit aces out here.
A couple of them have been ugly nervous early on. He hit one halfway up the net. When you're tense,
Advantage
your touch
Sinner.
goes away. And both players are tense. That volley from Sinner was supposed to be just a little short angle, and it went very deep and really should have been punished by Draper. He should have made that pass.
Thank you.
Second chance to break for the Italian.
He was on that one. He read lefty serve out wide.
Yes.
Just a little too much.
Let's go, Jack.
And it's very clear that Jannik Sinner has picked up the pace in this game. He's definitely playing faster than he has all first set long. So maybe Simone Vagnozzi got through to him.
Is it beginning to impact Draper as well physically? He's soaked up a lot of pressure in this game.
Advantage Sinner.
Yeah, that was a point that if you're Draper, you're pretty discouraged because he hit about 4 balls off the baseline and didn't get any but a bit of an edge in any of those shots. Sinner able to just continue getting the length himself. And this becoming that type of game where you can feel a momentum swing if Draper doesn't get out of this.
Game Sinner.
It's becoming problematic, the second delivery of Jack Draper. A game and a half of doubles now. It's costly. Sinner will look to serve out the
Sinner
first.
leads 6-5. First set.
Can you get them through the grips as well?
Interesting thing about the doubles are as well, I think there's been some in the net and some long. It's like he's sort of compensating, isn't it, from one double, and the next time he sort of decelerates and then he tries a bit too much. It's not really a balance.
And now Jack Draper has sent 2 rackets up to his box to be re-gripped because he too feels like the grips are slipping, and he sent them up to his box just now.
Interesting.
Time.
Jannik Sinner will hope he's made a significant breakthrough here. In a set where Jack Draper's had his opportunities. He's just gifted a few too many to his opponent. And as Andrea was just telling us at the change of ends, he's taken a couple of rackets away to be regripped.
go, Jack.
Those players definitely
Again,
feeling the
this one, mate.
humidity
Thank you. Ready
out
for
there
play.
this afternoon. Which wasn't apparent
15
this
love.
morning, I have to say.
No, it was, if anything, a little on the chilly side. Well, Sinner already up a break once in this first set. Donated the break right back. Don't get the sense he's going to do that again here. Was Sinner complaining about flash photography there? Is that?
The spider cam was still moving. That's what he was complaining about.
That was a bad sign for Draper because he just played about as good a point as he could play. The one shot that he does have that causes a little bit of an
30 love.
advantage for Draper in the front is when he gets a little heavier, a little spinnier to the backhand. Not as much pace, but just a little more depth with that height. Then he can get a short ball sometimes that he could step in and flatten out. He's going to have to use that because all of a sudden it doesn't feel as though Sinner's going to make these unforced errors that he has made to this point in the match.
Sinner's tightened things up, hasn't he? And it's a cleaner ball right now, but he's
40 love.
striking out here. And it's been a competitive hour or so, but Sinner with chances to put this opening set to bed.
Game and
Wild
first
swing to
set.
finish.
Sinner.
The world number one has taken the opener.
7
It was a
games
good
to
one.
5.
He takes it 7-5.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Words of advice from James
players
Draper,
are ready.
doing his bit.
Jack, let's go.
15 love.
So James Trotman, the coach of Jack Draper, looking really for his man to try and shorten a few of these points. That seemed to be the directive, Jimmy.
That was the directive. What he was saying is you're losing the long rallies.
Was it good? I think it was.
It was called in, although I with Draper and thinking that that felt and looked
15
like it
all.
might have been wide.
That's the way. That's the intent. Come on.
But you do gotta
Reward yourself for doing the right things. Here we go. Come
gotta
on.
love that Draper listens to his coach. Told him to serve wide earlier. He served wide. He told him shorten the points. He forced himself to get into the net there, maybe a little too early. I'm not sure that I like the call necessarily, because it's not as though Sinner gives you that many balls to be aggressive with.
Legs, legs.
15 30.
Yeah, just to
Come on,
quickly
legs.
give you some numbers in the
Come on, mate.
rallies over
Let's go.
9, which
Positive.
effectively is what
Right here,
James
Jack.
Trotman's alluding to. There's been 11 rallies over the 9. Sinner has won 7 of those 11 so far. Not a lot in it in the shorter points.
40-all.
Did have Wayne Ferreira, of course, part of the team for a while, but Wayne's services were no longer required, he was told a few weeks ago. Jack wanted to try and keep it simple with just the one voice.
Let's go, Jack. Come on.
40-30.
Come on. That's it.
Pretty sure someone's going to snap up the South African, though, because he's had a fair bit of success with the players that he's worked with over the years.
Unlucky.
Deuce.
And again, Jack. Come on.
This is where Sinner, to me, becomes almost
Advantage,
impossible to beat if he's
Sinner.
playing this solidly, because the length and pace of his ball, I don't know how you get him out of position enough to win points unless he's making errors. He's made some errors, so he's allowed this to have some anxious moments early on, but it's just feeling as though Sinner is slowly squeezing this match out of Draper's hands.
Turn that point in his favor.
Well, you had a stat earlier that you showed me about outside of the singles lines, who's winning those
So good.
points, and the best in the tournament of the semifinals has been Draper.
Yeah, I think it was effectively showing us that the Draper, when he has been pushed wide, has done a very good job of hanging in a lot of points and being able to turn them around, which again speaks to his improved movement.
Which he's going to have to utilize today, because the average speed of shot is decidedly been in Sinner's favor.
I'm a little surprised that Sinner's looking for a forehand off that serve. I mean,
Advantage,
it's tied up he gets here.
Draper.
Just look at this.
You know, he was running away. They're not showing it to you, but he's running away to get around his backhand, and the ball just kept chasing him because it's sliding into him.
S&B, mate. Here we go.
It's the first reasonable drop shot we've seen from Draper. So maybe he's starting to relax and forget that he's in a semifinal.
Is that a miss because he's having to come out of his comfort zone a bit there, do you think? It's not necessarily the shot he would have hit all tournament.
Yes. Even though I would have rather seen him make the approach and see if Sinner came up with the winner. But I understand why he feels the need to hit it bigger, closer to the line. Another tough game on his serve. It's the little things that are showing you some
Advantage,
errors. This was a
Sinner.
great play again. This is the third time I remember him serving volleying. He's bungled all three of them.
Come on, Jack.
But
Do it,
he
let's
had
go.
a volley that you just drop it short.
Yeah, look how much harder he's having to work on serve here, Jimmy. This is the 54th point he's played on serve. Sinner, on the other hand, has played just 33 in this match.
You're okay.
There's Sinner again complaining about his
Try and
grip.
work through this game, mate. Come on, you can do it. Take your
Use.
time. This one, Jack.
Let's for service. Advantage, Draper.
And again, take your time. Breathe. This one, mate. Come on, you got it.
Game, Draper.
An industrious hold that was. He's digging very deep right now as the British #1.
First
He looks to
game,
hang on here.
second set.
He made 5 of, that was a 14-point service game for Draper. He made 5 first serves and still held. That was a win for Draper because that looked as though it was starting to become something that was going to be in completely Sinner's hands, this match, as he was going to get up a set and a break, it felt like. Good save by Draper.
Andrea, talk us through the challenges of playing a semi-final at a major. You did it at the French, I think 2014, wasn't it? The first time you made a semi. How much emotionally and physically did it take out of you, or did you come into the semis feeling very good because of the wins you had?
Both at the same time is true. You're on the one hand, you are full of confidence. On the other hand, you can just feel the pressure and the attention rising exponentially from round to round, and it just feels like you're in a pressure pit. And you can
Thank
tell
you, ladies and gentlemen.
Jack Draper winning
Ready
the
for play.
service game. You could just feel him straining. He has to work that much harder, whereas with Jannik Sinner, it feels like he's just in the right temperature now.
So it's up to Draper to figure something out to get that
Love
temperature
team.
of Sinner's up a little bit more, and that's maybe the start. A 97-mile-an-hour forehand winner with spin.
Talking of temperature rises, that was a significant one off that shot.
Let's for service.
Thank you. That should be happening every second serve in the ad court.
Love
Draper should be
30.
running around. It puts him in the middle of the court anyway, so that's where you want to start the point from, and you're hitting an aggressive forehand.
And now it's Draper who has picked up the pace, and the question will just be how long can he hold this up, because this is definitely putting some pressure on Sinner right now.
(15-30).
Spends much of his time in Roehampton at the National Tennis Centre, does Jack when he's not on the road.
Here we go, Jack.
Training with a good group of British players that are there these days. And as Jimmy was telling us earlier on, does take the trip to Florida every now and again. He's done a few off seasons. You've seen him, Jim, haven't you?
I have seen him. A hard worker. He needed a little technical work on his forehand, and I think it's gotten a little bit better in the last year. I haven't really seen him since January.
Yeah, certainly speaking to coaches at the National Tennis Centre personally, they've all told me that Jack just leaves everything out there every day.
Yes.
Puts so many hard yards in.
40-30.
But as we know, there's also working hard and working smart, isn't there? Jack seems to have found the right formula.
Deuce.
Go, Jack.
And like Sky at the back there. Sinner's girlfriend.
I saw this coming.
Advantage Draper.
A little bit of a walkabout from Sinner all of a sudden, where he's made a few errors.
Yeah, a couple of gifts out of nowhere here from the world number one.
Please. Deuce.
It's those misses that tell you he still hasn't. We've been playing for an hour and 15 minutes roughly, and there's still that tension that's causing mistakes like that. It's okay to miss that shot, but not by the distance he just missed it. It's okay to miss a couple volleys, but not when you try a drop volley and it goes past the baseline. It just tells you that there's tension in your hand, that you're not able to relax yet completely, at least not at all moments.
That's so much good work, Jack Draper. Sinner somehow clung on for all he had. And once again, the drop shot
Advantage Sinner.
was not as effective as he would have liked.
It's never that easy to kill a drop shot when it's about shoulder height. And that's what Draper tried that time.
Thank you.
That's what you feel after what was 15, 20 intense shots, wasn't it, Jim?
Where Draper had Sinner in trouble throughout most of that rally. That was beautiful ball striking from him until the drop shot. Still run around this second serve and start the point with a big forehand.
Game Sinner.
There was a little lack of first serves in that game. They're happy, though.
1-all, second set.
21 minutes we've played in set 2, and we are done with 2 games.
Here you go, Jack.
And you have to feel long term that's only going to favour Sinner, isn't it? The intensity of the battle, the longer it goes, where do you stand?
It depends on which player you think is stronger physically. Because there are not big question marks, but there are little tiny question marks about the hip of Sinner. We haven't seen any sign that it's bothering him. Draper finally hit a short volley that I've been asking for, and Sinner showed you just how well he moves. Because I thought when the volley had dropped over, it might be good enough. It wasn't.
That's where that second serve into the body works well, doesn't it? Because Sinner's having to hit the forehand, but his body weight, as you suggested, is taking him away from the court. So if he then puts it centrally, there's some space for Draper to try and exploit.
Having said that, why do you keep hitting so many second serves? I know that he's 5 of 16 right now. 5 of 17 in this set.
Yeah, struggling. Sinner hasn't come in a whole lot, but when he has, it's been effective.
15-30.
And it just seems like Jack Draper is working really hard on those serves. You can see him gripping the racket. You can see him forcing himself. It's not flowing. It's not easy. It just seems like hard work. And I think that's where the first serve percentage comes from right now.
Huge for him to be able to hang in there through these first couple of service games where he is serving at 28%. He's managed to hold the first game of this set. He's gotten to 30-all with that winner volley. And that would be a win for him to find a way to hold serve twice while having to win rally after rally. That's when you're in second serves, he's having to win points.
30-40.
He'll afford those sorts of missed opportunities right now, you sense, the British #1. Sinner is going to sit that deep for the second. It's a play that's open to you. And one that he's taken advantage of.
Finally, he's taken advantage of it. He's used it, but he has missed the volleys. And all of a sudden, this game, he's made a couple of nice little shorter volleys. That's all you need. If you get your racket on it, dump it over, should be good enough.
He's swinging freely, and he's cutting loose a little more often right now.
Advantage, Draper.
Come on.
Use.
Andre, did he mean to hit that, or was this? Yeah, maybe.
Let's say he meant to hit it. Yeah, I think he was on his way to that corner, and he has that ability, right, to just give this little flick of the wrist on his backhand. That's why he passes so well on that side. But Jack Draper is playing really well right now. It's really fun to watch. Except for that serve, I'll deduct that.
Forehand speed has gone up significantly, Jim, hasn't it, from Draper's perspective in this set?
Draper.
Yeah, 74-mile-an-hour average, and now it's at 81. So he's doing exactly what his coach said: shorten the points. He's trying to. He's hitting the ball bigger. You just got to add the element of making some effective first serves. Because even when he's putting the first serve in, earlier you remarked on how 50% of his first serve returns aren't being returned. That feels like that is changing a little bit, as he's only won 4 of 9 first serve points. So it's not as every game for him on the serve has been an adventure here in his last 3.
Advantage, Draper.
Offering some stern resistance right now as he keeps Sinner at bay in the second.
Draper leads 2-1, second set. First set, Sinner. Time.
So good. 4 points on your terms. That's it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
More words of advice from James Trotman. Looking for his man to try and control the outcome a little more often.
15 love.
And the opportunity is there.
I think that's the problem, however. It's so hard to control the points against Sinner. It's one of the reasons he's #1 in the world, is because he has such pace and depth on those ground strokes. And even if you hit a ball in the corner, it's not as though you're going to get a sitter back. You're going to get something with some depth and pace. He gets out of the corner so nicely and hits it still so strongly from there.
Yeah, those rackets have come back, re-gripped. Looks like he's got the Torner grip out there, doesn't it?
Yes.
There's the slight problem with the forehand when it just gets a bit spinny, isn't it? It just sits there and it's a bit too inviting for Sinner.
It's from the technique that he had, where it's hard for me to explain, but he pulls his elbow in first. It gets a little close to his rib cage, and when that happens, the racket face opens slightly, and his unconscious mind knows it's open, so he covers it with that topspin, and when he hits it that way, the ball lands short, and Sinner's able to take control.
Game
Get that
Sinner.
elbow away from his rib cage.
New balls,
The ball
please.
would go, and the racket had fly, then he hits a big forehand.
2 games all, second set.
Keep up to speed with everything going down here in New York. USOpen.org, of course. You can even do a bit of shopping if you fancy it while you're online. Some good merchandise to be had here this year.
Is it the same, Jannik?
Okay. Here we go, Jack.
Both.
First point. Come on.
Both the rackets or not?
Sinner's asking for a couple of restrings. I think Jannik actually plays with a 16-19 string pattern, I believe.
15 love.
Gives him a bit of pop because of that. A bit of extra off the ground. Certainly a powerful racket.
Because that's what he needs, right? More pace.
Out. 15 all.
Here we go. Come on, Jack.
How long can Draper hang in with the way these last few games have gone, where he's just clinging by his fingernails to his serve? And this is where all the hard work that he has put in will have to pay off for him, because it's physical to be the one serving. 71 total points now to 47. Just to give you an idea, it's more tiring to be the server, and he's trying to double up almost the number of service points he's played.
Yeah. Really good. Big. Good hitting. Keep that ball
40-15.
Huh? Keep the ball tossed back and drive up. Stay relaxed. Come on. You're looking good, mate. This is the best he's got. Come on.
I'm not 100% sure it's the best he's got, but it's not a bad idea to put it in Draper's mind.
Coach's job sometimes is just to provide the optimism, isn't it?
40-30.
Just to give a bit of bluff in many ways.
Okay, this one, Jack. This one, come on.
First time in a while that Sinner's played during the day as well. Of course, the last couple of times we've seen him, he's been part of the night session here.
One of the new balls was not new, apparently, and that's what just happened. Jack Draper gave back the old ball that snuck in, trying to sell itself as a new one.
Let's for service.
Change the racket. If it's slippy,
Use.
change it. Let's go, Jack.
Now, the first time Draper didn't listen to James Troutman because he's yelling at him to change the racket if it's slipping. Both players struggling with gripping the racket today.
Now he will heed his advice.
Perhaps 1 point too late.
Advantage, Sinner.
9 double faults. That's more than he's had in any match at the Open so far. Much less a set in 4 games.
Let's go, Jack. Come on, mate.
Serve at times has been impenetrable through this event. Less so today.
Use.
Great second. Here we go, Jack.
A real change, isn't there, in terms of the second serve return hit point, Jim, for both sides. A real contrast from Sinner's perspective. He's, as you say, trying to cut the angle on the ad side, but
Come on, Jack. Come on. Come on, mate.
certainly a lot deeper on the juice, so he's having to shift that position.
Advantage, Draper.
Great work. Here we go, Jack.
Yeah, many feet behind the baseline in the deuce court, but look where Sinner is in the ad.
Yeah.
Andrea, it seems as though that is it raining half the time, or are they sweating that much? Because the ball kids are out drying with towels, and he just dried apart
They are sweating a lot, but there is a big dark cloud coming above us right now. That's why you see some of the players looking up. Jannik Sinner just checked it while he was on the change of ends, so not sure whether they will keep the roof open for now.
Third seal-out.
This set is starting to take on a feel of a Medvedev match back in the day when Medvedev would hold serve in a minute and a half, and then he'd make you work for 20 minutes to hold serve. And you could do it early in the set, and then eventually you couldn't. You'd falter at the end. And this set is taking on that feel. I don't know if that's how it's going to end up, because Sinner still has the potential to miss a few shots.
Do you sense that the work he's having to put into hold is then having a knock-on effect in these return games, despite the fact he's actually coming out of a break off it as well?
Yes, the last two, it does feel like that, because those are some quick errors, and a couple of them where he's not really even trying to do much. First point of this game, he just hit a chip forehand return off a second serve that floated long.
Game, Sinner. 3 games all, second set.
Okay, so he's going to get as much time as he needs here, because this falls under the rule of change of equipment. So this is a separate issue for him. He can sort this out in his own time.
Well, it's also, if this was before
Ladies and gentlemen,
serving,
the shoes are wet, making court unplayable.
I don't like this move, but he's
so
the one who's going to serve.
So the shoes will be changed before we continue playing.
Maybe that's why the court's been so wet. Water is shooting out of his shoes as he takes steps.
Yeah, and they will now have some of the ball crew dry the court, because there are stains everywhere from Jack Draper's shoes.
Andrea, just to go back to the point we were making with Jimmy about making a major run for the first time and rewinding to that run you had in 14, what did that do for your belief? What did that do for you when you came back on the tour, having made that major semi-final?
I never made one ever again after that, so that went really well for me. But it changes. It changes. You take. I always say you take mental hurdles as well as physical.
Ready for play.
And a major semi-final or final or eventually a victory is a major mental hurdle.
Let's replay the points.
Ball fell out of Jack's pocket, I believe. It's all happening. He's changing shoes in the middle of the set. He's...
The second time you will lose the point if that happens.
Yeah, you got to do a better job of getting that free drop. It's when the guy has an overhead. You throw it out of your pocket real quick.
You sound like you might have done that before, Jim. Surely not.
Love 15.
Here we go, Jack. Let's go, Jack.
30-15.
Do you think those are tired shots? Sometimes drop shots are you're a little bit tired mentally or physically, and you just want the point to end. I don't know if I'm getting that sense, but I might be.
This one definitely looked tired, and like he wanted the rally to end. The ones before, I was on your other theory that he was a little tense. You could just gripping the racket.
Thank
you.
You
can see the white knuckles of how hard he's gripping the racket when he's attempting those drop shots, and you need to be loose.
First set percentage still below 40% in this set for Jack.
I like the play from Draper. You know, it's serving and
40-30.
volleying when your opponent's that far back. You got to get your racket on it. He did. He tried a drop volley that was very high, and you can still see that it caused some problems for Sinner. He got there comfortably. He probably shouldn't have tried to go around Jack. He should have gone right at his gut with a bullet.
It was the obvious shot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was the easiest one from the position he was in. Draper has hung on again. A remarkable effort from the Brit, who holds on to his lead.
Draper leads 4-3, second set. First set, Sinner.
Made the semi-finals of a major without dropping a set. That's how impressive it's been from
Jack, here we go.
Draper this week.
First point here, come on. Let's let him feel some pressure. Come on. Come on, let's go. Right now.
Love 15.
Right now,
James
Jack, come
Troutman,
on.
he's working as hard as Draper to keep him in this. And the advice was get this first point, let him feel a little pressure, and perhaps he's managing to do just that. What just happened?
These guys absolutely dripping out there right now. Goodness, Draper's got the oversized shirt on because it might be glued to him if otherwise was the case.
Here we go. Pressure. He's been hitting that tee a lot this set.
That's where Troutman can look at the data with that sort of information right there. He can see it.
$30-15.
And again, this one, Jack. Come on.
$30-all.
Draper's coach telling him get ready for the tee. So now you're in danger if Sinner hits it out wide. Troutman will get yelled at. Told me tee.
Maybe he meant British tea at
40-30.
5 p.m.
Oh, you're making me homesick here, Andrea.
That was huge ball striking from Draper, and then he finished it with some beautiful touch. I know Draper won the hole in the out, but it just gives you an idea how well Sinner moved, because Draper was crushing forehands going to the corner, and Sinner was in position for almost all of those shots.
Advantage,
He's
Sinner.
been stepping in a little more aggressively off the second serve return, but
Good hit.
wasn't able to deliver on that
And again,
occasion.
here we go.
Well, Draper knows how few chances he seems to be having, so that was a slight one. That's why he's so upset with missing the second serve return. First one of those we've seen in a while for Sinner. Early in the match, hit quite a few, made a lot of unforced errors with that forehand.
And you could definitely tell hesitation in that drive volley.
Advantage,
He almost didn't
Sinner.
want to strike it. Big opportunity that was for Jack Draper. Had a clean hit on it.
Yeah, and what should be the simplest shot is a little cross-court angle. That's all that was required there. Maybe it wouldn't win you the point outright, but worst case scenario, you're going to get a look at a second passing shot.
He's looking down at the court, potentially a reason why he's missed the ball, because
Love the early backhand.
it seemed to be inexplicable, really, from the position he was in.
Way to work, Jack.
Oh.
Physical toll it's taking on the Brit. There for all to see.
Just have to clean the part of the court over there before we continue.
Okay, so
We have
then
to-
they're going to have to get the...
Yeah, but he vomited on the court. So we wait for now.
Yeah, I think, very honest, Not got a choice in this, really, but the players seem to want to carry on.
I'm shocked in some ways that Draper doesn't want to go ahead and clean the court.
Thank you.
I'll be feeling spectacularly since we just saw what we just saw. Sensible thing, didn't he? Serve wide, hit to the open court. You see that from your opponent, you just start punishing him.
Advantage, Sinner.
Moving the ball corner to corner. He still hit it 93 miles an hour.
Game, Sinner. Four games all, second set.
Days like today, with the humidity being as it is, where players are just losing so much weight, aren't they, as well? You listen to players, I remember Tommy Paul talking about a fortnight of major tennis and just how much weight he'd lost at times at the end of it, because of the physical toll that it's taken on him, especially in warm conditions.
Thank you.
One thing is when you're
15 love.
a little bit on the tired side, you lose a little of the nerves. It's almost survival, so you start grip it and rip it type tennis. That's what Draper's trying here.
It's all physio primed and ready if required.
All the hard work
15 all.
from Draper in that point, and he missed the one that he needed to, should have been able to make.
Here we go, Jack. Great
Fell
work.
behind because of that
Tennis
shot,
unlucky.
but
Here we go.
beautiful little flick here.
Don't
Kinda
get afraid to
missed
go at him on the
forehand.
pass. Straight at it.
Yeah, that's where his backhand, actually from a defensive standpoint, is very useful, Jimmy, isn't it? Because it's short, it's flat, he's able to block it in those corners. And then he produces some class in that fashion.
Told you he's not nervous any longer. He's just
30,
trying to
15.
survive. And now all of a sudden he's got some touch when he's come up to the net a
So
couple of
good,
times.
Jack.
That was a beauty.
Well done, mate. Come on. And again. Here we go.
And he's up there more and more right now. Perhaps just trying to find a way to shorten some of
40,
these points.
15.
Well done, Jack. You're doing great. Come on. This one.
15 times he's been in this second set, of 21 in total in the match. But at what cost?
Yeah.
forehand he hit, I can tell he was over 100 miles an hour, but more pressingly is what damage he's done here. Let's have a look.
40-13.
Get here, don't know what caused the... He just went backwards. Stuck his hand behind, which is dangerous.
Game, Draper.
And he's got
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ready for play.
the most eventful of second sets. Sinner serving to extend it.
Fifteen love.
Sinner doing his best not to have to hit a backhand. Two pretty big serves to get quickly to 30 love. Just the reaction that he's showing where he's fist racket pumping to his box tells you he thinks he's going to finish this match. The wrist isn't going to cause him a problem. Any difference in pace on those two backhands?
I did not, in fact, and I was looking at his face while he was hitting it, and there was no facial expression that indicated pain. He's still stretching it, but I think he should be okay. This is my interpretation, but he looks somewhat okay, and the pace was the same as it was before.
Finish down the middle, more than enough for Jannik Sinner.
5 games all, second set.
He seems to have shrugged off the fall.
And I think now will be the best indication of where his wrist is on that big lefty serve of Jack Draper's, and the return where you have to block that big pace. I think that's where we'll see how it really is.
To Draper. Such an exacting set, but he's refusing to yield here.
The thing is, the level of play for him has gone up, partly because I think he has no choice but to redline it a bit. It can go one of two ways. You can start making a lot of errors. That hasn't really happened.
Love.
That's our first sign that was a little uncomfortable.
That one was a jammed backhand, so he didn't get his arms extended like he normally did. And did you see any grimace there, Andrea?
Yeah, definitely a little bit on that one. And he's still shaking it out now. Also the off pace where he has to create it on the left wrist, that seemed to bother him.
(40-15).
There could be a rule in this match that Draper's not allowed to hold serve quickly. So 40-love, a little pressure again to 40-30.
Yeah, 53 points on serve in this set. Third more than Sinner. Jannik Sinner. And there's still a few question marks circling here around the world number
Draper
one.
leads 6-5, second set. First set, Sinner.
I feel as though in that game, Sinner on the forehand just tried to up it a little bit in terms of, I don't know whether that's anything to do with the fact he is trying to shorten the points, possibly. I mean, we could say it on both sides.
Yeah, that's the problem, I think, for Sinner, because obviously after seeing his opponent vomit, your thought process isn't let's shorten the points. But you're right, he was going for a little bit more on those forehands, and you got the sense it's because he doesn't want to overtax the left wrist hitting too many two-handed backhands. So both players are suddenly wanting to shorten points for different reasons.
Testing that backhand. Keep testing it as much as you can.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ready for play. Let second service.
Pretty rare, Jimmy, that you see a Gauff as big as this one in terms of just the amount of time that both players will spend on serve.
Yeah, Sinner just under 2 minutes, and for Draper just about 6 minutes. So it's been that kind of set, and somehow Draper, worst case scenario, is going to have a tie break to play and fight for. James Troutman
Third
wants Draper
T-love.
to pick on the backhand.
You want to hit
of-
through that side, huh? It gives you time. Come on.
Wants him to test that wrist over and over
Never
again.
know, mate. This one.
And you can't blame him.
Where's he going?
Okay, Jack, we clean out properly. Jack, we clean out properly.
Okay, Mariana's had enough of that.
Can you do it?
She's going to get the team out here to give us a proper clean-up.
I think they're telling her, let's go.
They are.
Might be nauseous, Draper, but he keeps
30,
running,
15.
and keeps fighting and keeps digging.
He's tough.
Yeah.
His resilience out here has been admirable.
Hard to see any scenario where Draper
Come on, Jack.
can win this match if he does not win this set. Looks as though we're headed to a tie break.
Game Sinner.
And we head there in emphatic style. And we've won
6
the
games
best
all,
performances
second
here
set.
for some
Tie
time.
break.
Tracy Austin enjoying the action.
Let's go, mate.
So is Andy Roddick in the background.
Both of them are US Open champions.
Sinner's tiebreak record in recent times is remarkable. He has won 14 of his last 15 breakers.
So that was well done for you. You just guaranteed a Draper breaker win with that announcer jinx that you just attempted for your countrymen. I mean, there is a reason, isn't there, that he's so good?
1-0.
Because his
Sinner.
return is one of the best in the game. He backs that up so well. And although his serve's not one of the biggest, it's good enough, and he's so good from the back that it's just, you can see why he'd be tough to beat in a tiebreak. As close as the score is, 7-5, 6-all, the total points won. Normally in a match like that, they're very close. It's a huge lead for Sinner.
Sinner.
This one.
He's made a very fast start to this one.
3-0, Sinner.
And he's laid the platform right now,
This one, Jack.
to get himself a 2-set lead here.
Two must-have points here for Draper.
This is remarkable. Jannik Sinner has picked up the pace by a
4-0,
lot. He's
Sinner.
hitting the ball much harder with a lot more depth. You can see the difference from the side. And I guess this is what the champions do. When it matters most, they up their game.
Much longer this tiebreak goes,
4-1.
should serve and volley almost
Sinner.
every point, because in the baseline rallies, exactly what Andrea said, the ground strokes all of a sudden in the tiebreak is even more devastating when Sinner's connecting on some of those forehands.
This set closing in on 90 minutes. Has to be one of the longest of the US Open. From Draper's perspective might just be coming back to bite him. That was a rather tired looking forehand, wasn't it? As he chases the score here.
And Draper did a pretty good job hiding that he was tired for as long as he did. Recognized it on a couple of those drop shots, if you remember, that maybe they were looking as though they could have been energy-saving moments for him.
He's given everything.
Sinner.
There's Draper. He's left everything out there. But he finds himself on the brink of a two-set deficit.
Sinner.
Well, another serve and volley. It was all it was needed was the serve, and if I'm Sinner, I'm thinking serve and volley's coming my way again. But now what does Draper do? He's going to have to win a couple of rallies somehow when it doesn't seem as though he has the legs to do it. He's got to hope for a second serve and absolutely take a risk on the return.
Sinner leads by 2 sets of love.
All that 7-minute rest has already been dissipated in that last rally where he ran corner to corner 4 times. The one thing when you're playing Sinner, you have to run really fast also because he hits the ball so hard. So there's no loping from side to side.
And the obvious value right now in experience
love.
of this sort of intensity, Jimmy, in a 2.5-hour match, something that Sinner's done multiple times, and yet Draper hasn't really got a lot of that in the bank at the moment.
No, he hasn't played a whole lot of throughout a 5-set type matches like this.
Up, up.
Trotman wants him up for this second serve return, and why not?
Worth remembering, this is only the 12th major of his career, Jack Draper. And that includes a couple of losses in qualifying, so he hasn't had.
So that doesn't count. That's not 3 out of 5 sets if it's qualies.
Okay, so 10. He's played 10 majors so far. So still experience very limited realistically.
Every second return this side up. Everyone. I know.
Game, Sinner.
Made light work of
First
that game.
game, third set.
And he'll be hoping that an early break here can kill this man off.
I mean, if I'm Draper right now, the goal is hold my serve somehow, make enough good serves. I think he should be serving volleying at least twice a game, and maybe almost every point. It's just that got to keep Sinner maybe guessing a little on that front, and then maybe try the first point or two on the Sinner serve games. And if you're not, if it's 30 love, you're done with that game. Save what you got for your service games and just hope you can go along that way as long as you can. Draper does not quite have this man's skill, but on serve, he's got a good serve. But John Isner, he was the king of being able to last forever. When seemingly on his last bit of energy, because he could keep holding serve. And he would use what I just said. He'd try maybe the first point in the game. If he didn't win it, he's done with that game. And see what happens. So for Draper, again, that last point was not good for him because it was a rally. He needs to serve and volley a little bit more. Had he served a volley there, that wouldn't have been a tough volley.
Well, the good news is having to preserve energy makes him a lot looser on the serve. The first serve looks a lot better. The bad news is he really looks tired now.
Yeah.
He was hiding it well in the second, but now you can just see it oozing out of his pores. I guess the vomiting on court was a giveaway.
That was the one that told me. He hit those 2 drop shots, and I remember thinking that looked tired. And then the next game was when he vomited, and that sort of confirmed it. Do you think Andre is too tired to serve and volley? Because it does take energy to sprint up behind your serve. But he's not going to win. I mean, chances of him winning are fairly negligible at this point anyway, but certainly not going to win in a baseline battle right now without his legs.
he wants to avoid explosive steps, if that makes sense. You know, that first big step where you have to push, that's how it looks like from here where I'm sitting. I'm not far away. As if he's trying to maybe not cramp even, you know, when you have to do that big push.
Yeah, that's good call.
That's what you've been looking for.
But I understand what Andre is saying is if he makes too big,
Advantage,
volley is
Draper.
explosive. You have to after that serve, get that first step in there quickly. Even though he's serving volley there, it was a casual, it was a Pete Sampras serve and volley. Where you
Game, Draper.
Good news from Sinner's
One
perspective
game
is we
all,
seem
third
to have
set.
stopped talking about the wrist. It looks as though that's, for now, not an issue.
Jack.
So maybe this is the
Love
game he
15.
puts in a little extra effort if he's got any energy. Starts it with a winner return.
Fault.
Obviously, he's got to be aggressive on the returns. I still prefer seeing him run around that one and hit a forehand.
Just a little better angle off that delivery, wasn't it?
30-15.
Hit his spot a little more effectively. Something that he's been doing so supremely well over the past 12 months.
C15. Game, Sinner.
Two good friends who have been foes for the last 2.5 hours.
Sinner leads 2
Sinner
games to
up
1.
2 sets
Third
and
set,
2-1.
and by 2 sets alone.
day where Jack Draper has to dig oh so deep to try and keep himself in this contest.
Let's go, Jack. Come on, mate.
Still only 22 years of age. Jimmy, aside from the obvious physical issues he's had, how much room do you still see for growth in Draper's game long term?
Quite a bit, because I do think you see the length of his ground strokes, and very often he's putting the ball around the service line. The better players, the best players in the world, have a little bit more depth, a little more length on their shots. He gets away with hitting it a little bit shorter because he gets some nice free points with his serve, because he defends really well. He's actually dangerous when defending. That's when he opens up and hits the ball a little bit bigger, is when he's stuck in a corner almost to where he has no choice but to try to hit a winner. And more often than not, he comes up with the winner from there. But he's got to just get a little more comfortable at dictating from the middle. Full John McEnroe. We've seen a couple of those points that looked a lot like a lefty serve. Come in from a pretty tough spot and just hit one of those little ridiculous drop volley angles. Even where he hit that volley from, McEnroe volleyed almost behind his body. I just tell you, hit out in front.
40-15.
Body at most.
Serving volleying ever more consistently right now.
Just shows you what tension will do, because he couldn't hit a volley that looked even remotely decent until he got exhausted. Looking like one of the best volleyers ever.
40-30.
Here we go, mate. This one, Jack. Come on.
Game, Draper.
Some impressive judgment.
2 games all, third set.
He's killing you with a slider, first and second serves on the deuce. Go deep and shape it, or come up a bit higher, or sit on it. Come on, mate. First point, here we go, come on.
So did he say that most of the serves are going out wide in the deuce, either back up and shape it, which it looks as though that's take it early and get aggressive. The unforced error count is going to really look for Draper, because
Great return.
and it gives you an idea of
Great return.
for juniors, because this always drives me nuts when a kid that's a decent player starts making some errors. They always think it's their hand. They look at the racket and the swing. It's the feet 90% of the time, and that's why you're going to see a lot of unforced errors from Draper, because his feet aren't going to be there anymore. It's the same stroke. It's just not going to be in position.
30 love.
His feet have done a lot of work, haven't they, Jim, for 2.5 sets?
Yes.
And they're not quite behaving as they once were.
Let's for service.
I'll ask.
Fortilov.
I think he just asked for a Coca-Cola. Not 0.
Game, Sinner.
Sinner holding comfortably in set number 3, just 2 points lost so far.
Sinner
How long
leads
can Draper
3 games
cling
to 2, second set, and by 2 sets to love.
They don't provide that here because
Andreas Egli is the man in the corner.
Searching the grounds for a Coke, apparently.
Can't be that hard to find.
Well, we got a couple up here in
I was
the
going to
booth.
say, yeah, we'll just pass them down.
Time.
Whichever way you look at it, it's been a strong summer for Jack Draper. First title in Stuttgart on the grass. Virtually unbreakable he was that week. Beating Matteo Berrettini in the final. We know how effective Berrettini is on that surface. If you look at where he started the season, he was 62 in the world. Was this man right at the start of the year? He'll leave here a top 20 player for the first time.
You could almost see Draper thinking,
15
oh,
all.
I think I can get to it, but should I run? I'm not sure. In the end, he did run, but wasn't there in comfortable enough time to do anything with the shot. Get back to serve and volley.
Yeah, Draper's services are very much required next week as well, because Great Britain are in Manchester for the Davis Cup. He and Dan Evans, the two standout singles players. It's going to be a relatively quick turnaround. That's indoors as well, so he's got to adjust to those conditions.
And Jimmy, I think running to that drop shot was ill-advised, because that really took the last bit that he still had in him out of it.
Yeah.
It just seems it.
You know, I agree. That's why I saw it. You could almost see his brain thinking, should I run? Should I not? Chose poorly. And you could tell he almost didn't want to run up for the short high lob after he'd hit all these big shots. Just had nothing left. He's standing there going, oh, come on, I gotta hit another ball. All right.
That gap's been closed.
There won't be too many more to widen the gap, because I don't expect almost any 9-shot rallies.
.40.
There's a sense that the last rites of this match might be about to be issued here. Should be enough to see Jannik Sinner into the US Open final.
How quick is Sinner? Look where
Sinner
he is.
leads 4-2. That's
He
it.
gobbled up that ground in a split second. He was back by the fence.
And the difference is, which is there for all to see, is there has been no physical drop-off from Jannik, has there?
No.
In 3 hours. The sense is that he could be
Thank
here
you,
another
ladies
hour,
and gentlemen.
question.
Ready for
playing
play.
at this level, at this intensity. Not the case for the Brit.
I mean, part of this, because I do think Draper can play 3-hour matches and be okay. I think part of the reason you see him in the shape he's in is because of the tension that he brought to this match, with it being a semifinal of a major for the first time. All of those extra things with the adrenaline that causes sap the energy even more quickly than it normally would have been.
And they're the intangibles, Jim, aren't they? We get so many numbers, we get so much data thrown at us these days, which is great, but you can't calculate that, can you?
No. And that's where the big advantage for Sinner, who's been not to the semis of the US Open, but semis of majors. He's won a major. That's where the advantage goes to him. This is just another match that he has played.
He's almost there. The world #1 has been pushed to the limit out here.
Sinner leads,
but he's going to find a way.
5-2.
He's
That's
one game
it. And Batusasalov.
Now they get him to come. He needed on the last changeover.
If Draper turns this around, this could potentially be the greatest advertising for Coca-Cola ever in the history.
I agree. It's a commercial waiting to happen. There's a lot of tennis that needs to be played for that Coke miracle to work.
Of course, out of the way these days, having retired. He's working on his golf game. Jack Draper will be leading the British charge over the next couple of years. You see him as a top 10 player down the line?
No, I do. I think not just from the tennis standpoint, but from his work ethic, his mind.
Here we go, Jack.
Just need the body to
Come on, mate.
hold in because he has struggled to stay healthy.
The good news for him is, for the most part, that's in his control, right?
Love
Obviously,
15.
injuries will come and go, but he can do everything he can off the court to get himself physically in the best possible shape he can be. Fairly confident in saying he'll do just that as well. Him as a personality.
Off-speed pitches.
30-15.
Both of them.
Yeah, that second serve just 87 miles an hour.
Here we go, mate.
Troutman's still believing. His charge is vomiting on his last leg, and he's down 2 sets. Still encouraging the fact.
40-30.
Draper borderline staggering, isn't he?
Yeah.
Around the court between points.
Use. Advantage, Draper.
That's 3 backhand returns off speed lefty sliders.
Yeah, the intensity of the battle has dissipated, hasn't it?
It's almost as if Draper's torturing himself, or Sinner's torturing Draper on purpose. I'm going to let you win this point. Now I'm going to punish you.
There's no way to treat a friend, Jim.
No, that really isn't.
Doubles partners these two were just a few weeks ago. The legs most definitely have not left Sinner. A fine chase.
Advantage, Sinner.
And after 3 hours and 3 minutes of intense competition, Sinner is on the cusp of the US Open final.
Game, set match, Sinner.
It will be
3
a
sets to
first
love.
US Open
7-5,
final
7-6.
for Jannik Sinner.
6-2.
It was, for much of it, survival of the fittest. Sinner was the stronger when it counted in that department. For Draper, there'll be more to come, but the Italian prevails in straight sets.